I have a secret superpower when it comes to processing my scraps. Come with me and I'll show you what it is. Hey guys, welcome back to Frances Quilts. My name is Frances Arnold and I have just released a new online on-demand course called Let's Get Scrappy. It's designed to take some of that overwhelm that we feel when we look at our scrap basket. I mean, when you look at something like this, it's easy to think, oh man, I can't do anything with that, and just walk away from it. But this course is going to help you get those scraps ready to be used, and then we're going to learn some principles that are going to help us just sew and not have to spend so much time making decisions. Does this fabric go with this one or this go with this one? In the end, you end up with a fabulous table runner and some new principles that help you make scrap quilts better in the future. One of the things that I share in this course is that I have a superpower when it comes to processing my scraps. I use my AccuQuilt machine. Have you ever thought about doing that? Honestly, I've had this AccuQuilt for several years and I have not used it nearly as much as I thought I would. But I have found it to be the perfect way to process my scraps quickly and easily. Let's go look. I'm going to be working with this pile of scraps that a friend gave to me. She thought they might be something that I would enjoy, and so she sent them to me. I'm very thankful for that. The first step that I do is to iron these fabrics, and I have divided them kind of into little groups here. I have some little bits and pieces. I have some squarish type fabrics that I can work with, just all different sizes and shapes of fabrics. I'm going to put everything over to one side except for the longer strips. We'll start with those. Now these fabrics are at least 20 inches in length, and many of them are actually with the fabric. So the ones that are with the fabric, when I ironed them, I did iron a crease in them right here, just to give me a good line to line up with. Now before we start cutting, let's look at the die. Now my plan is to do most of these white strips as 2.5 inch squares or strips, because that's kind of what I'm thinking I may be working with next. And you're going to see some lines on here that I've drawn. I'll show you those later. But for this first step, what we're going to be working with is this line at the very top right here. And we are going to take our strips and we're going to line them up here. I want to get as many cuts as I can out of one piece of fabric. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to line that edge right there up so that it's covering that first die that's right there. And then I'm going to bring it up here and I am going to line it up against that line. That means when I cut it, I should have a 2.5 inch strip that is straight. Let's see what else is in here. Since we can cut through 6 pieces of fabric at a time, let's just take this one and let's line it up so that we know that it's covering that die on all sides. And then let's bring it up here and let's line it up again, just like we did the white one underneath it. Okay, I look down here just to make sure that this all the way down is covering that die and that die right there. Let's see what else we have. Here is just a white single piece that looks like it's half of a width of fabric, and it's at least 2.5 inches wide. So I have 4 here. Let's go ahead and just put this one on top again. And this one, because I am not working with a fold, I don't really have to worry about where it lines up on here. As long as it's covering the die here and up here, I know I'm going to be fine. So that's put there and ready to go. All right, now let's work with this piece. This is a little bit bigger piece than what we've had before, but if I lay it here on this die so that it's being covered by this die and I line it up here, when I run this through, I'm going to get 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get 3 strips of fabric from that piece right there. Now, obviously, this over here is going to be left, so what I can do is just fold this over. Let's see, is there enough? Yes, it looks like I can fold that over and get another cut out of that piece right there. So I'm going to put my cover on top of it and I'm going to go up to my machine and run it through. Okay, see if I can keep these from sticking to it. There we go, everything's off. Let's get rid of all the little bits and pieces here that we don't need. Obviously, I did not get that one quite right, so I'm gonna put a little clip right there, and that can come off. Let's pull this one out. Oh, I got all of them too far down, but that's okay, we can deal with that. So, there's a nice strip. This is trash. There's one nice strip. Let's see what else we have. Here's some more trash. Trash. So note to self, don't put them quite up as far. I probably had them too high. So here's another strip. A few more strips. Some more trash. Let's pull these off. And I did this all the way. Okay, that goes away. And here's the single one that I did. And here are, we have this one, and we have this one. And let's get rid of this trash right here. Those really aren't big enough to do anything with, so they can go into my bin for making dog beds. Here's one more, and here's my last little bit of trash. So with just one pass, I'm able to get all of these pieces like this. These, since they are longer strips, I'm probably going to leave them as strips and not try to cut them into smaller units. But let's do another set that are smaller, and I'll show you how we can subcut them. All right, here are a few more pieces to use. Let's start with this one, and we are just going to put it on here. Obviously, it did not get ironed completely perfectly, but that's all right. But you can see here that if I line this up well, I can cover that die, I can cover most of it for that die, and this one as well. So I can get 1, 2, 3 different strips out of that piece of fabric. Let's take another one and do the same. I'm just going to line it up on here. Again, these are partial pieces. When I get down here, because I have some laying over, let's fold it back and see, is there enough to fold back and get another strip? And yes, there is. And then finally, let's just take this piece and put it on top as well. Same thing, I'm just going to line up along one of the edges and see how far it will go. I don't think this one will quite give me 3 strips, but I'll certainly get 2. And since we have this piece from last time that I didn't use, let's go ahead and put it on here as well. Yeah, I may be able to get another 2 inch out of that, or 2.5 inch out of that. We will see. All right, I have my board all loaded. Let's run it through. And let's see what we have here. So there are a series of strips that are cut and ready to go. Now, what if I wanted to subcut these into 2.5 inch squares? Let me show you what I have done to make this possible using the AccuQuilt machine. If you have a look at this die, you see that I have gone in and added some perpendicular lines. These are at 90-degree angles to the dies that are here, and they are spaced a little over 2.5 inches away. The reason I did a little bit more than 2.5 is just to give myself a little bit of room to wiggle if I needed it. But I know that if I lay a strip along that edge right there, all the way across, that I'm going to end up with 2.5 inch squares being cut from it. And now that I'm down here, look, I can take this one and fold it over. Let's do the same thing with this next piece. We're going to come down here and put it in place and then fold it over so that we have another piece lined up and ready to go. So let's take another piece and put it right here. Again, we are just lining it up and keeping it perpendicular to these cuts right here and keeping it lined up along the line that I have drawn. We'll put another one on top of it. Same thing, just lining them up. Because I have 2 on there now, I'm going to pull it back. And I'm going to fold it here and across. And you see, I'm going to get 3 different cuts here. I have 4 different pieces of fabric, so that's going to give me 12 squares right there. Now let's take one of these stacks and we're going to just line it up right here. We can get this fold very close to that die because it's going to cut it off. We'll come down here. As soon as I have passed the die down here, I can fold it and bring it back. And look, I can even take this and fold it again and get 2 more squares out of it. So it's all lined up now and ready to go. Let's do another one. So now I have this whole die lined up with 2.5-inch strips that I'm going to run through the machine. Let's put a cover on it. Okay, let's have a look at what we've gotten. We have some trash here on these edges we can get rid of, obviously. All right, let's start looking at what we've got. We have a bunch of perfect squares. Now this one, you can see that wasn't a full piece of fabric, so that one I need to put to one side to maybe turn into a 2-inch square. So I'm just going to start stacking up what I have here. Those two are trash. I have 4 squares there. I have 4 squares there. I have 4 squares there. This one right here, I have, looks like 4 squares, 5 squares. All right, with 2 passes through my machine, I have all of those 2.5-inch squares ready to go. So that's how I do it. I start with the bigger pieces and I just keep working down and down and down until I get rid of all of them. Now, is this any faster? I don't know, it may not be, but I think it is a little bit faster, but more importantly, I think it's more accurate. I think when you have those perpendicular lines drawn and you line up those strips along those lines, you're going to get perfect squares to work with. And we know when you have perfectly cut squares, that makes your sewing so much easier. So if you have that AccuQuilt machine sitting in the corner, pull it out and try processing some scraps with it. If Let's Get Scrappy sounds like something fun and something you might be interested in, I have a special deal for you. From now through the end of November of 2025, the course is $10 off. Just use the coupon code SCRAPPY10. I'll leave the link here where you can get to the page to learn more about it, and I'll also leave the link in the show notes. I hope you learned something new today, and I hope you'll go and have a look at Let's Get Scrappy and sign up and join me on my scrapping adventure. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and as always, I look forward to seeing you next time on Frances Quilts. Remember, if you like what you've seen, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please check out my website and daily blog at francesquilts.com, and I can be found on Facebook and Instagram at Frances Quilts. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope to see you again soon.